So this week, I started a new prop firm challenge with my funded futures, where I only need 1.5k to pass, and since last week I was able to easily manage that, this week shouldn't be a problem, right? So, Monday didn't go great. I came in with a bullish bias, but with no real targets above us, the closest one being really far away at the 70 to 25s, and a positive GEX regimen suggesting some resistance going higher. I quickly started fitting a bearish narrative into my expectation, because I just felt the direction would be much more comfortable, and the markets are known for being reasonable and convenient. I was looking for a short to the 71.70, took 2 shorts resulting in a $500 loss, and just like that, my challenge account was halfway gone in the first day. I can't blame anyone but myself. Instead of reacting to what was in front of me, I was trying to impose my expectation onto the market. I know fully well the liquidity and GEX conditions are not direction. The direction comes from the trend and price reactions to relevant levels and areas. Having hit my max loss for the day, I step away from the charts. Coming into Tuesday, I made a decision before even looking at the charts. I'm cutting my risk in half. Another day like Monday would bust this account, and that wasn't a risk I wanted to take. Not wanting to repeat my mistake, I was planning to demand a bit more from price before I committed to any direction. Positive GEX again, range bound expectations. I was initially considering a long to value area high from the previous cash session at the 7200s, but there was nothing to target there. I consider potential move towards 7180s if we tap into VWAP and hold. The retracement ends up not reaching as deep as I would like. It does however break support at 7190s. So I send a short. It hit $275 US, making back half of Monday's loss. I closed my charts, much happier with my decision on this day. Having recovered the portion of my losses from Monday, I considered going back to full risk, but to be honest, I felt like the challenge wasn't going to go well and decided against it. Looking back, I'm glad I didn't, because this day was a bad one. The bias was bullish. We had prodded last week's range and rejected it on several occasions, but there was no liquidity above. And then, a huge note shows up below us. Someone was trying to add a large long position, but with nowhere to offload this above us. This felt off to me. I suspected that the idea was to offload that position into a rip higher. A note soon appears at the 7200s, and we end up pumping higher. Once we get close to that level, those orders are quickly removed, trapping traders long as I had suspected. A 677 lot got absorbed at 7170. I waited to see how the position was holding, watched more absorption come in, and shorted towards the 7150s. The setup made sense, but the result was better. It stopped me out for $125 and then went in my direction. While I watched, I had multiple opportunities to reload and I didn't take a single one. Randomness is the name of the game. Certainty when it comes to outcome is never going to happen. I've been trading for long enough time to know that the only thing I can control are risk and entry, and I still couldn't pull the trigger. Initially, I was leaning bearish. The value of the cash session and VWAP were sloping lower, but there was no target below to establish a trade idea. I decided to wait and see if we can flip bullish by breaking above value area high of the cash session and VWAP for a buy, which we did, but my entry wasn't great. I reacted to the break instead of waiting for a retracement, and for that I got stopped out. But I wasn't about to give up on this idea and repeat the mistake I made the day before, so I got in on a better position. But this is where Thursday gets painful. The trade moves pretty quickly to my TP and stalls. I start considering taking a partial here to protect my gains, but decide not to, and price starts retracing back aggressively. Seeing that, I panic and take a partial way lower, leaving a runner. That runner went to hit my original target. Had I held the full position, I would have made $462 on the trade, $337 on the day. Instead, I came out with 60 and decided to close my charts. I'm simply not in the right state of mind to keep trading at that point. Friday, I was leaning bullish. Pre-session, nothing I liked showed up, but an hour before the open, direction was clearly aligned with my bias, and I start sizing up a potential long off VWAP. I get into the long on a displacement bar, targeting the 72.75s. I get stopped out, and of course, it did the move without me. I wasn't discouraged. I let initial balance form, and got in another long once we broke value area high of the initial balance. This time, targeting the 7300s. Committed to hold it, I swear. And then the flashback started. Thursday, Wednesday, the prop account, the losses. Price was struggling and I played it safe. I took a partial, left one contract running. It eventually hit $440. That put me at a minus $10 for the week. Minus 10. It's almost like I didn't trade this week. Can't say I'm happy about that, but at least the account survives until next week. This week wasn't great. I tried to predict, I misread, had poor decisions, and mismanaged my positions. If there's a list of things not to do, I think I checked all the boxes. The prop firm pressure turned every trade into a survival decision, instead of a trading decision. When you're protecting an account balance and can't afford to lose, you stop trading your edge and start trading your fear. That's what this week was. Next week, I want to trade the setup, not the balance. That's it for this week. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.